Yeah, there's a clicker too, so if you want to walk
Oh,
out,
so we could do that. Like
yeah.
he told us, we need to be like when we start like doing questions, that we just need to be close together.
Okay,
So for the camera.
okay,
So
go
I
ahead.
can do like this.
Yeah, okay. Good morning. How are you all doing today, this morning? Good, good. So my name is Raina Turner. Here's my coworker, Rashawn Williams. We are from Florida Department of Education with the Independent Education School Choice Office. So we are here to talk today about McKay, Gardner, some changes that you may or may not like, but we're here to talk about them. And so that's what we're here to talk with you all about today. Just some house rules. So if you have any questions pertaining specifically to your child, your case, your school, we ask that you hold those questions during the presentation. We will be available after the presentation and in the exhibit hall. We are exhibit 313, I believe. So you can come to our booth and ask any questions you need. Also, too, there are some QR codes that I've taped behind the chairs. I didn't have enough, so please forgive me. So if you want to move up to the closest QR code, you can scan that with your phone, and it will go directly to the school choice email. You can email any questions that you need as well, okay? So if you have any general questions, of course, we'll answer them today. But again, anything specific to your child or your school, please hold those questions and wait until after the presentation so we can just try to get through the presentation, okay? All right, we thank you all for being here. We thank you for the families and the schools. This is what keeps our program running. You are very important to us. So we really appreciate you all. All right, so I'm going to give it over to Sean to start the presentation.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. If you are returning to the Family Cafe, welcome back. If you are new this year, welcome again. I hope everything is going according to plan. I know it's a little bit different this year, but all in all, it looks like a good turnout, and I hope you guys are enjoying yourself. So again, my name is Rashawn Williams. I am one of the scholarship program managers for our school choice office. And I'm going to first start off by talking about the John McKay scholarships. Just a show of hands, any of parents now that have students currently on the McKay scholarship? Okay, great. So I know you all are probably wondering about what's currently going to transition over into McKay. I really want to touch base first on just the background and what's in place for the upcoming school year, and then we'll touch a little bit on what to expect for the 2022 school year with the changes to the new House Bill 7045. And those of you who do currently have children in the McKay, whether it's the private or public option, we'll kind of go over the responsibilities on that end as well. All right, so first, just a little history with the McKay program. It has been around now for a little bit over 20 years. And it was initially established with families in mind who have students who had students in the public school system with an IEP or a 504 plan. It provided the opportunity for your child to attend another public or private school in the state of Florida, any private or public school that was participating in the program in the state of Florida, that option for you all to choose a more suitable, or what you would like to consider a more suitable education program for your child. So the requirements initially that were in place is your child must have been in a Florida public school system first to qualify with an active IEP or 504 plan under your school district. The age, if your child is getting ready to enter kindergarten for the school year, turning 5, through the age of 22, could be considered for the program. And of course, again, the key thing is you have to have your child in the public school system in order to become eligible. Now, there were exceptions to the public school requirement. If some of you all transitioned in the program through your Early Learning Coalition, there's the specialized individual instruction service program that the Early Learning Coalition provides to students who are evaluated with an IEP. And if they are grandfathered into that program, you don't have to meet the public school requirement. Other exception was the military families. If you're being deployed from anywhere else throughout the state or the country and you're coming to Florida, those military families whose children did have an IEP or a 504 plan in their other state can come into the McKay program without having to meet the Florida public school requirement. And then maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, legislative went ahead and approved for foster care students. As you know, when they're displaced throughout the school year, they may not meet the public school requirement either. So we did make that consideration, and now any foster care families and students can qualify with the program without meeting the public school requirement. So how do you hear about McKay? Either through word of mouth, but if your child was in the public school system and you had an IEP evaluation completed or a 504, it is our school district's responsibility to get the word out about the program. Whether it's through usually they may tell you about it during an IEP meeting. I know for my child, I receive a notice that my child brings home every year about the program. They may call, leave you a message or an email. Whichever correspondence they decide, they do have to get the word about the program to our families with students throughout the state of Florida about the program. And again, that is within a 10-day time frame of when your child's IEP or a 504 is established. Any questions? That is our phone number. We'll provide this information again to you at the end of the presentation. The applications are online. It's an online application to apply, and it's through our website, floridaschoolchoice.org. We have 4 deadlines throughout the year that you can apply for the program. In order for, say, if you want your child to use the scholarship in a private school, of course, you need to apply throughout the summer between February and July 3rd. That way, you're locked in to receive 100% of the scholarship funding throughout the year. Then we have 3 more deadlines that you can apply for the scholarship throughout the year, where you can get 75%, 50%, 25%. Say if you don't know yet where you want to decide to take your child to school, you still may be deciding on the public option, see how that works out. And then later on, you may find another private school in your area. Well, you can, transition your child out of the public school system into the private school sector anytime during the school year, as long as it's around the time frame of the deadline, so that you can make sure your child is covered for funding for that pay period in which you want to grandfather your child into the private school system. Now, again, students must be enrolled in public school at the time you actually submit your application. Click that button. And then once you're approved, then you can decide whichever option you would like for your child. The applications do remain on file until April 30th. So that means you have the entire up to April 30th of the school year to decide whether or not you want to take advantage of the program. Now, after filing the application, the districts are the ones who determine if your child is eligible. And again, they look at the 4 requirements, whether your child's IEP or 504 is up to date, if your child has met the public school requirement, age, and grade level. They can have up to 30 days to review the application, but typically within a 2-week time frame, they will notify parents with a status update. You do receive an email notification from our department once it's been submitted with a 12-digit confirmation number where you can check the status online. And You also will receive further updates on when the any changes to your child's application. We will send you a notification on any updates. So again, scholarship payments. Where does this money come from? McKay, again, was designed for public school students in mind to transition either to another public school or private school. So how did they have to come up with the money? It's through the Florida Finance Education Program, which is the same funding pool that we pay for our students to attend public school. So pretty much that money that they're covered for under the state for public schools, they're using this funding at your choice to either move to a different public school or take the money and help pay for the tuition and fees for a private school of your choice. So again, we have our 4 payouts for the year. September 1st is the first, and on that one, that means the child is guaranteed 100% covering of what they're eligible for. That can go towards, again, private school tuition and fees, anything educational related to the private school that they're charging you for. If the private school offers a tutoring program, a therapy program within their school system, you can use the funding to help pay for that if you have enough of the awarded amount. Now, the schools do also have to make sure that your child is enrolled on their account. They are responsible for enrolling the child in the program for you. You don't have to notify our office of when you decide to select a school. Everything goes through the schools, and they are responsible for managing your child's McKay account. Again, I'm kind of repeating some of this information regarding the student's grade level, district, and matrix. That's how the funding is calculated. So if your child's on the high, like the lower end, 251 spectrum, 252, 253, the funding does go up according to the needs of the child, of how much services and accommodations the child is receiving, whether it's on a weekly basis, monthly, annually. The funding is calculated that way, which is the same as how these children are getting funded through the public school system. Of course, district, it also plays a part. Some districts may receive more funding than, like Orange County may receive more funding than students in St. Johns County, just because of the population, of course, and the budget that is approved for that state, or for that county. Students receive the state maximum of private schools, which means sometimes, I know that's a question that comes up, like, will the scholarship pay for the children's entire private school funding amount? Not necessarily. Private schools get to decide how much they want to charge. So if your child is receiving $7,000, but the private school cost is $10,000, we will pay the maximum of that amount, but you'll have to discuss with the private school that difference. Some schools, you can always ask if they offer additional financial assistance, payment plans or whatnot. Some schools also may offer their own scholarships that can offset that cost. Okay, so looking forward, what I just explained was currently what's in place for McKay. Next year, for the school year 2022-2023, McKay will transition, and it will no longer be called John McKay Scholarship. It will transition under the Family Empowerment Scholarship for Special Needs students. We are in the process of working with our scholarship funding organization, Step Up for Students, and the AAA Scholarship Foundation on the transition of the programs. Those funding organizations will soon take over this McKay Scholarship once it becomes the Family Empowerment Scholarship under the special needs. So we will, throughout the year, be providing you all with updates on the new changes. Those of you that are currently receiving the McKay funding for your child, you won't see too much of a change other than you're just going to be working directly with our funding organizations, or your private schools will, or if you decide if you want to maybe use this scholarship for a different option, you'll have that availability that you didn't have before to use it for home education, tutoring, therapy, and additional other supplies, equipment that you may need for your child should you decide to look into another avenue for your child next year. Marina's going to talk about the transitions of the Gardner Scholarship Program.
All right, good morning. Again, my name is Raina Turner, and I am a program specialist at Department of Education with the School Choice Office. And actually, I do handle specifically Gardner. So now that will be rolled into, come July 1, into the Family Empowerment Scholarship. It will be the Family Empowerment Scholarship for children with disabilities. So that is what it will be rolled into. So again, due to House Bill 7045, the Gardner program is repealed and just rolled into a Family Empowerment Scholarship. Your funding organization should be in contact with you regarding this transition if you are an existing Gardner student. So you have probably already received some type of correspondence with either Step Up for Students or AAA Scholarship Foundation, whichever one you have applied through for your student. Okay. All right, again, so the Family Empowerment Scholarship, commonly known as FES, so I will probably just be referring it to FES disability, okay? All right, so again, the House bill expands Family Empowerment Scholarship eligibility to include students who qualify based on household income levels, so that's already existing. That's our FES income, and now it includes qualify based on diagnosis or IEP, so what was formerly known as Gardner. Okay, FES, so you will apply through your funding organization, okay? Again, either AAA Scholarship Foundation or Step Up for Students. And the SFOs will be responsible for determining eligibility and distributing funding. And so again, we have our two FES. So let's think of it as an umbrella. FES, Family Empowerment, is the big umbrella. Under that umbrella is income and the diagnosis scholarship programs. So under income, you have to be 5 by September 1. Household income of 375% of the federal poverty level, siblings of eligible students, and military dependent. For diagnosis or IEP, the student is 3 or 4 by September 1 or eligible to enroll in a K through 12 program. I'm sorry. Okay, all right. So we'll just go back to the income. All right, so income, you have to be 5 by September 1. Okay, household, you have to have a household income of 375% of the federal poverty level. The sibling of an eligible student can be eligible. And also a military dependent can be eligible. The diagnosis or IEP, which again, formerly known as Gardner, the student can be 3 or 4 by September 1 or eligible to enroll in a K through 12 program. Has to have a qualifying diagnosis from a physician or psychologist or an IEP. And siblings may be eligible for the income-based scholarship. So let me just explain that a little bit further. So if a student qualifies under the diagnosis or IEP FES program, and the sibling of the student may not qualify under that, they could qualify for the income-based. Even if the family doesn't fall under that income-based scholarship, the student of the qualified diagnosis IEP can actually qualify for FES. And we're just doing that just to, if the parent or the family wants to keep the children at the same school or, the program, trying to accommodate. So again, if the student qualifies under the diagnosis or IEP FES disability scholarship, The sibling of that student, even if they do not qualify under this program here, they could qualify for the FES income side, even if the parent or the family does not meet the income level. Okay? Question. Correct. They do not have to, so even if the sibling does not have those qualifiers, if they don't qualify under this, they could qualify under FES income. Okay? Go ahead. Correct. 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 So, and again, you will contact, or the parent will contact the funding organization to explain further on how that will work and what they will come in as far as income. But that is under statute. That is one of the laws there. And so again, we're just allowing parents to, if they decide if they want to keep their child at the same school, that is another way to keep all their children at the same school, the same program. Yes, sorry. Go ahead, I'm sorry. So, so good question, good question. Okay, okay. So one of the questions over here was she just wanted to explain further about how that would work. So if a sibling, again, even if the sibling did not qualify, they didn't have any qualifying disability or anything like that, we are allowing the sibling to qualify under the FES income portion, okay? Even if the family does not meet that poverty level, the income, that's what the statute is allowing, all right? So the second question was, how does it work if, let's say, the student that qualified under the FES disability, if they age out of the program, but the sibling is probably younger, so they haven't aged out yet. So they will still remain on the income portion until they either graduate or turn the age of 22, whichever one comes first. Okay? Yes, ma'am. No. So that's a good question. So as far as cap is concerned, there is a bit of a cap. There is a bit of a cap, okay? We're not going to discuss that further on and go into logistics of that, but we're trying to, I'm sorry? Not necessarily. So, I'm not going to go into it further because it's a lot of logistics. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. I understand. I definitely understand, but I don't want to confuse everybody else, and that'll be a long discussion. Go in the back. I'm sorry. I didn't see you. I'm sorry. Sure, sure. So all of these scholarships, with the exception of McKay, again, McKay, that's going to be repealed next year, okay? So all these scholarships, FES income, FES disability, that is through your funding organization. So you will contact or apply through their website. So AAA, AAA Scholarship Foundation, you will apply through their website. Step Up for Students, stepupforstudents.org, you will apply through their website. Again, you can choose either or. They're both our funding organizations. After July 1st. Thank you. Okay. Correct. Yes.
Family Empowerment Scholarship funding is currently only for their tuition in a private institution. They are not my disabled children,
Correct.
and they don't receive the same benefits that my special needs children receive. So I
Cor-
think that's where a lot of people in the special needs community just kind of got a little bit concerned and frustrated because they are not the same thing at all. They are separate.
Correct. And thank you for pointing that out. That was going to be my next question after we moved on from that, or my next comment. So, Family Empowerment Scholarship for income, you can only use that for tuition and fees, or the $750 transportation scholarship. Okay, so it's either or. All right. Again, like she just stated, that the Family Empowerment Scholarship for Diagnosis or IEP or disability, that can be used for other things aside from tuition and fees to a private school. So you can use it for therapies, tutoring. You can use it for special equipment that are qualified equipment under the funding organizations. You can use it for a lot of things, okay? So yes, just keep that in mind, that if you fall under that umbrella where you have a sibling that qualifies for this part, and qualifies for the diagnosis IEP, and then a sibling qualifies under FES income, that is only for tuition and fees to a private school. It has to be an approved scholarship school through the state of Florida. Okay? So just to clear that up. Sorry.
I'm in the process that my daughter has just been approved for the Gardner scholarship. We have not yet accepted and started the program. I have received no communication from Step Up for students regarding the transition into family empowerment. Where should I expect my daughter to fall in this process? Are we going to be reapplying? Are we transitioning into the Family Empowerment Scholarship? The only correspondence I've received is regarding the increased funding for a higher matrix level.
Got it.
Is that still applicable in this program?
Yes, so good question. Thank you. Anything Gardner is going to be July 1 is going to be now referred to as Family Empowerment Disability. Okay, July 1, that's what it is. Now, as far as correspondence with your funding organization, I know Step Up is having a presentation. They also have a booth. I would suggest that you reach out to them, go to the booth, go to the presentation, and just, inquire about what type of information that you need, okay? Because we can't answer that for you, unfortunately, here, because we're not the ones that are going to be handling that any longer. Well, Gardner, we really weren't handling as far as funding we were, but as far as applications, we weren't. So I'm sorry, I can't give you more information, but please reach out to them. They are here, okay? And I'm sorry, you did have a hand up. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Correct. That's what we stated earlier. That is just strictly for private school tuition and fees. Yes, ma'am. And again, the private school has to be an approved scholarship program with the state of Florida. Ma'am, right here? Yes, ma'am. Okay. Well, honestly, we can't tell you about the funding just yet. So we don't know about funding and how much funding will be compared to the other. And honestly, it's not always the case that McKay. I'm sorry. What'd you say?
I would think that most of the parents would love to know that answer.
Yeah, and I'm with you, but unfortunately we don't have the funding numbers just yet. Okay, I'm not sure about lower or higher. And what I was going to tell you was that it's not always the case that McKay was higher or Gardner was higher. It really depended on your matrix level, the county, the grade. It really depended on that because I've seen it where Gardner was lower than McKay or McKay was higher than Gardner. So it really is specific to your county, your child, their needs. So again, as of right now, we don't have the funding amounts. They do typically come out July, mid-July. So we can be able to explain more, but unfortunately, we don't have that information to give. Yes, go ahead, I'm sorry.
One of the things that I found out, we've been on the Gardner Scholarship for a few years now.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I found out, 94% of Gardner kids are in the default matrix of 250.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I found out is my child was actually a 254, but back when we qualified and provided our IEP, the districts were not at that point obligated to provide the DOE with anything more than the IEP and not with the matrix scoring. So there's a lot of families that have potentially been receiving the scholarship for a long time that are in the wrong default, or they're in the default score and they were perhaps higher.
Okay.
How should, I was able to go back to my district
Mhm.
and get that corrected through the DOE and have them send the thing so that going forward she'll be in the correct default or the correct matrix score. But for families that have been on the scholarship for a while and may have that, up until now we've just been told we have to go get a whole new IEP, which is a whole big can of worms that nobody wants to open.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So is there a mechanism for making those corrections for families that need that?
So yes, so that honestly, there has been a mechanism for maybe about a couple of years now. They're on your parent portal. I know Step Up definitely has a parent portal. I'm not sure about AAA, but if you're a Step Up, Gardner student or FES, on your parent portal, there should have been a link where it's gone now. It's still.
And that was to initiate a new matrix review, going back and going through the IEP process all over again.
Okay.
Versus having something that was already created, provided to you and the DOE with the score instead of just the accommodation.
Okay. So, well, I mean, we'll have to talk with the funding organizations to get that, rectified or see how we're going to go forward with that. But again, I just want to stress before, and I believe they stopped if they stopped that link, it should have been sometime in May or April. Prior to that, the link was still available. So there used to be a in your parent portal, a link where you could request a matrix update for Gardner. Okay. Once you requested that matrix update, you were then responsible for contacting your school district ESE office to again request a matrix update. They will go back and review. Again, if it changed, it could have gone up or down. That is just letting y'all know that. So, and it will probably still remain the same if that link is still available. It could go up or down. That is not our control. That is through the school district because they're the ones that review your IEPs. Okay? So once that changes, we are then notified of the change. The scholarship amount is, again, recalculated and changed. And then if you were already paid out in that said 253 matrix score through the year, then we would, if we had enough funding, and most of the time we try to get those students who have those matrix updates, we try to give them priority, and then we will pay the difference of that. So again, we will talk with the funding organizations. Thank you for bringing that up, that it's still not available, so we can talk with them about that and how to get that moving forward. Sorry, I think you were.
To the funding organization, the school systems very often are refusing to report it. They're saying, no, you have to come back and get a whole new IEP. You have to go through testing. And then they don't want to take the information from the private school. And they say, well, they're not in public school, so we can't find them eligible for all these services. So you have a student, which I've had this happen, that's 254s and 255s, and now a school district wants to rewrite the IEP, and it's a 252 or a 253. When that student really has significant needs. And
I-
there's a very big gap between those
Get what you're saying. So in reference to that, well, of course, we're working with the district to try to see what is feasible for them to do and everything like that. So we're definitely going to try to work with them more, especially with this repealing about that. But I want to stress this to you. Under statute, there is a statute that says that, when you request a matrix update, that the district, of course, they have to do the review. If they want to do another IEP again, that is up to the district. We cannot tell them no, okay? So that is really up to the district. So we will work with them as close as we can to try to streamline that. But I just want to let you know that we have to stick with what the statute says, and we're not going to try to go above or, beyond that. Yes, ma'am.
Two counties that have told their parents that they actually need to re-enroll their child
Yeah.
in school in order to get the IEP.
Yeah, so no, you should not have to do that. Yeah, you should not have to do that, okay? So just, stress that. And again, if there are any pushbacks from the district in regards to that, saying you have to enroll or anything like that, have them contact our office, contact the regional manager, contact me, because, we'll explain to them, no, you have to da-da-da-da, okay? So we have them contact us. So we can try to work with you all. Were there any? I'm sorry, go ahead.
So if you have Gardner and everything remains unchanged, you haven't, you're just exactly just kind of renewing.
Mhm.
Can you tell us that the amount of money that I got this year for my child will remain the same next year?
So y- we, well, hold on one moment. I know what you're trying. I know, and we got to move forward, you guys, because we're gonna. But as far as a renewing family, and I think it's in the slide here, Sean. If you go to I think we already talked about that. Yeah. So here at the bottom, students who receive Gardner in 2021 will get either the 2021-22 funding amount or the prior year funding amount, whichever one is greater. Okay? Now, that's what I can tell you. All right? Now, as far as McKay and Gardner, if that's going to go up or down, which I cannot give you that information right now. But students who receive Gardner in the 2021 will either get the 2022 funding amount, 2021-22 funding amount, or the prior year funding amount, whichever one is greater. You have a hand here.
All these conversations are for people who've already been in this conversation?
Yeah.
Who's never been in either.
Got it. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
And just quick question, like say you get the scholarships and because right now with all the COVID thing, I'm kind of being forced to put her in a really bad situation where, high schoolers, other kids and stuff, so I've been maybe I need to look into this. The funds need to be used in the same county where you live, or can you go to another county?
You can go to another county. Yes, ma'am. You can use it in another county. Yes, ma'am. And did you?
I was just going to say, because we are a family who's been on it for a number of years.
Yes, ma'am.
We get awarded. We don't know the amount of funds that we're getting until like August-ish.
Right.
I've never seen it be less than the amount that we got prior, but we don't, we know that we're awarded, but we don't get the exact amount until they like deposit it into our account. Kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you had a hand back here?
So in this whole grandfathering concept in the statute, and not receiving less funds than the prior year for somebody who's currently enrolled, right? The statute is silent on kids that are in those years where the funding drops typically because of age, right? As you go up in age, it typically at certain points decreases. In my mind makes no sense, but we won't go down that path.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's silent on that. So I have a child that is in that typical, that naturally age-occurring space. Will I maintain the same that he had last year and not have that drop, or will I have the drop that's consistent with last year's drop?
You're going to have the drop that's consistent. Okay, so it's going to be the funding is. I'm trying to explain.
So
it.
it'd be the drop that he would have received last year versus the drop as it, or the amount it would have received if you're coming in new.
Right. So if you're an existing, right, correct. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So for the kids who are on Gardner with a physician's, like our rare disease kids, in the statute it says if you choose to go to the school district, they have 30 days. What are parents, is the DOE reaching out to these districts and reminding them that they have 30 days? Because a lot of us are hearing, nope, we not doing them in 30 days. We don't have to.
So we do have newsletters, reminding school districts, district letters, reminding school districts of their responsibility per statute. Now, we're not giving them a reminder every 30 days. We're not doing that. But we are reminding districts. Again, if you are having an issue with that, contact our office. We will, yeah.
That are parents are wanting because of the increased matrix score. And I know our county is kind of pushing back on it currently.
Okay. You can speak with us at the booth or afterwards. We will get in contact with the district to remind them that they have those 30 days. So yes, we will work with you. All right, so let's try to move forward just a little bit, okay? All right, can you go back to the previous slide just really quick? All right, so here are some changes, all right, to existing Gardner families. So accounts are closed after 2 years of inactivity. Previously, it was 3 years, okay? And from one of my step-up representatives, what they told me, buy a pencil, buy something. If you are going to hold on to, and I understand that some people are holding on to those scholarship fundings to pay for ABA therapies, which are really expensive. We understand that. But if you want to keep it active and you don't want to spend all the money, buy something that a qualified expense with your scholarship so you can keep it rolling, okay? So just keep that in mind. But it's 2 years instead of 3. Quarterly payments to the scholarship funding organization. All right, so instead of what we were doing is we were trying to do the payments every month to the scholarship funding organization. So Department of Education would send the SFOs a lump sum of money for any ones they invoiced us, and SFOs again are responsible. We're responsible for distributing the funds out to the parents or the schools. And again, we were trying to do that every month. Now it is quarterly. So we are working very closely with our funding organizations, Step Up for Students and AAA, to try to see if we can get those funds out to parents as fast as we can. But again, those are statute changes. Okay. And again, like we talked about, as far as funding. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So how's that going to impact? You just referenced the ABA therapies being so expensive. A lot of families have to dish out $5,000 in one thing. Now, it sounds like we're going to have to eat $2,500 until the next quarter, even though we're utilizing that service. And I know my daughter has 5 service providers that are utilized through the scholarship. And 2 of them are going to probably stop being direct paid providers because they're already waiting 3 months to get reimbursed. One of them's got an equity line on her home to make payroll to her therapist, and she's not getting reimbursed. So how is that all going to truly impact us?
Well, again, that's really a question for the scholarship funding organizations, because we're not the ones that's actually distributing the funds out to the parents and the schools. It's really the scholarship funding organizations. Again, this is in statute, so there's really not much that we can really do about these changes. And again, if there are some changes in here that you feel like can be better altered or anything like that, please contact your local representative to represent you guys and the changes that you need. But as of right now, that is through the scholarship funding organizations, and we are working very closely with them to try to get that out, okay? All right, again, our scholarship funding organizations, AAA, Scholarship Funding Organization, and Step Up for Students. And again, after July 1, you can apply for your FES diagnosis or IEP scholarship or disability. You can go forward. All right, so our additional scholarship programs, we have a couple more. Our reading scholarship accounts. So the reading scholarship program, that gives a $500 scholarship to any student from grade 3 through 5 who are enrolled in a Florida public school who scored below a level 3 on the grade or for statewide standardized testing for ELA, a $500 scholarship, okay? They can use it for tutoring, instructional materials, curriculum, and here again are the different expenditures. Fees to after-school education program designed for reading or literacy skills. Again, that is ran through Step Up only. I think these last two is just ran through Step Up for students that we're going to talk about.
Is that one actually funded in the budget for this year?
It is. We thought it was, but it is. So let me just say this. This is a great scholarship, but it is being underused, okay? Please, you guys, if you know anybody that, you know, has a child that is, you know, struggling, that falls within this grade level and everything like that, please refer them to the scholarship program. It's wonderful. It is I will say this, if they decide to use it for tutoring, the tutor has to be a qualified tutor through the funding organization, and so there are some qualifiers, but just please, go ahead.
Are school districts required to notify parents of this scholarship if their child scores below level 3?
Now, as far as yeah, so I don't believe in statute they're actually required to. We definitely let the school districts know, and you know, I know some school districts who are definitely telling parents about it. But again, if that's something that we need to, and it sounds like we do, we really need to kind of press upon them to try to get the word out as well. We will definitely do that. Do we have that? I believe we have it in our district newsletter as well, about the reading scholarship. Go ahead.
In our district, we're required to tell the parents about McKay, but we've never even heard of Gardner.
You never heard of Gardner? What district are you? Dade? Okay.
Our ESC specialists in Volusia County do nothing about it either.
Okay. Are you at the school district or are you in the, you're at a school? Okay. Okay. That's news to me.
We work with ISD kids and we give them the information on McKay, but we've never even heard of Gardner.
Okay. Okay. Well, that is news, okay? That is news, especially for Dade County. So this is what I will say. So we, at Department of Education, we are working directly with the actual school district, so your ESC office and all that good stuff. So we're not the ones that actually send out correspondence to each schools. That's really your district responsibility. So that means, you know, maybe I need to get in contact with my ESC liaison at Dade County, because they really should be telling you all about this, okay? So thank you for that, though, because that means I definitely need to contact them. All right. Yes, ma'am. During the summer, that's what you're saying? You should be able to utilize that, and for Gardner or FES it's new FES diagnosis RAP. You should be able to use that throughout the year, I'm assuming. I'm sorry, not for, I'm talking about you're just talking about a scholarship in general. Of course, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Got it. Right. Mhm. Yeah. Got it. So that really would be a question. Are you already on this any scholarship program, or you're just kind of looking right now? Okay. 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 So yeah, no problem. So as far as that is concerned, if you are under the FES again, or Gardner, as the name is right now, talk with your funding organization and inquire about, when's the last day that I can submit a reimbursement or anything like that for funding, or how can I use these funds. But as far as McKay is concerned, you can only use that for summer school or a summer program if it's already in your the tuition within the private school, in the tuition and fees when they do your write-up for your tuition and fees. So yes, ma'am. You had a question. Yes, ma'am.
As far as the reading scholarship, because the FSA scores don't come out until midsummer, do they go on the previous year? And then when is the deadline to apply for that?
Yes. So as far as the deadline to apply, again, I'm referring you back to Step Up for Students, because they're the ones that are actually distributing the funds and handling the application for that. But yes, so please contact them. Again, they are here at the exhibitor booth, and they are having a session as well. Okay? Go ahead. Now, that is a question for Step Up for Students. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Is there a place to find what the Gardner actually would cover, like qualifying expenses?
Yes. So the funding organizations do have that information available. Either go on their website or contact them, but they do have that information available for qualifying expenses. Okay? All right, let's move forward. So the Hope Scholarship. So the Hope Scholarship is fairly new, just like reading. A student enrolled in a Florida public school, kindergarten through 12th grade, who has been subjected to an incident of battery, harassment, hazing, bullying, kidnapping, have the opportunity to transfer to another public school with capacity or enroll in an approved private school under the Hope Scholarship. Okay? So the incident must be SESIR definition. So that is through your school district or the public school. So you would get in contact with the principal, your guidance counselor, or anything like that, okay? If eligible, districts provide a HOPE notification form to the student, Okay, so if you qualify, the district will provide that form. You will then use that form to apply for the scholarship to attend an approved private school. Okay, so this is another form of voucher money, so you can go to a private school of your choice as long as they are an approved scholarship school with DOE. How to apply, Stepper for Students is the only SFO that administers the reading and the HOPE, okay? So they administer FES, FTC, we didn't touch on that, and reading HOPE. So FES, that big umbrella, the income and the disability side, and reading and HOPE. Go ahead. Yeah. The HOPE or the, okay. Okay, go ahead. And again, you apply online. All right, you want to do that?
Okay, real quick, we'll discuss those of you who currently have students in the private school sector under the scholarship programs or may be considering private school option in the future. Just want to just really quick debrief on private school responsibilities. One of our jobs with the Florida Department of Education is to work closely with your private schools. Now, in order for you to utilize these scholarships, the private schools do have to also come through the department to participate. They have to go through a compliance process in order to participate in the scholarship program. So, and it's up to them. They don't necessarily have to utilize or take advantage of that option. They can decide which programs they wish to, which students, scholarship students they wish to accept, and which ones they probably may not, they know they may not be able to accommodate, and decide not to participate in that program. But one of the key things is Department of Ed or the state, we don't regulate private schools. Though that's also a controversial topic, but we do need to make sure that they are legitimate and that they are following statute rulings that are governed under the scholarship programs, meaning just making sure the health, safety, and welfare of the child is in place at their facility. So again, they have to also apply and renew their participation every year in the program. That's one of my jobs, is to make sure that they are submitting the appropriate documentation to do so. Comply with the statute requirements of the scholarship program. So like if they're not utilizing the funds, that is in the manner that is appropriate for that child's educational needs, you would need to contact our office so that we can possibly do further investigation on the school and your child's situation to make sure that they are adhering to the laws governed under the program. They are to provide parents on a quarterly basis of the student's progress. Not necessarily, as you know, again, some schools may not be able to accommodate your child's IEP. It is, of course, recommended that if they do bring in a child that had an IEP in the public school district, that they try to mirror it with a service plan, but again, it's not required for them to do so. But they still should be providing parents with a quarterly update on the child's progress throughout the school year. Yes. Good, yes. Schools can still contract with your district to offer the service. Now, of course, the districts get to decide what services they will offer the child, the scholarship recipient, but that is not considered double dipping. If they go through, they cover it under IDEA funds, which is federal dollars. So as long as it's
yeah. So what she was asking is about therapies or tutoring through the through the public school coming to the private school for your child if the student is on Gardner. We're just using Gardner, okay? And if that's considered double dipping. Is that what you're okay. All right. So so it's a little complex, but I'm going to try to explain it as much as I can. I can't say just yes or no. Okay. So this is not a yes or no type of question. All right. So yes, if, like Rashawn said, if the student is receiving those services through a service plan, not an IEP. And the reason why is because the IEP is funded different. Okay? IEP is funded through FEFP money, which is state funding, and state funding. Gardner is state funding. You can't do that. That's going to bounce. That's called double dipping. If it's through a service plan, which is IDEA most of the time, then that's not considered double dipping. That is okay. But again, like Sean said, you will need to contract with the through the district in order to set that up, and and make sure again it's not through the IEP. I'm sorry. Yes. Same answer. It's the same answer. Mhm. Got it. Yes, we're still following that method. If it's an IEP, if they're trying to fund it or do the services through an IEP plan, double dip, no. Just make sure it's through a service plan. Make sure you tell the district, hey, want to do a service plan with you all, and they should know what that is. No. So that's still you're not paying for it. Again, yeah. You're not paying for it. Service plan, IEP, and service plan. It's still a plan for your child. So the same type of thing. It's just how it's funded, basically. It's just how it's funded. So, go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So my question is, so we're on Gardner, and we're constantly having trouble because my son is multi-disabled, getting stuff that is approved through Gardner
Mm.
for him to be able to have it. The whole point of us being on Gardner is because the regular school cannot provide it. But the answer always is either one, it's just not an approved item, period, and they won't tell us why, so we can't defend ourselves on why we need it. Two, the other problem we have is that, oh, well, the school wouldn't have that, so you can't get that. But it's not true because multiple things that I have applied for are things that would be through the schools. But the whole point of Gardner is because our kids do not fall in that aspect in the first place. So, so my question is when we have a problem like that, when we get denied and denied and denied, and we feel like this shouldn't be a denial, who is overseeing them to say, no, you guys, that's not right. That's like, who can we go to say, hey, like,
So,
we get this fixed?
yeah, sure. So, Department of Education, we're the ones that approve the scholarship funding organization. So you can definitely contact us. We will then research it. That does not mean it's going to always go in your favor. And I know you know that, but I have to tell you that. Okay, because automatically people think they're going to contact us and it's just things going to happen the way they want it, and it's unfortunately it doesn't always happen that way. But contact us. We will definitely research the situation, contact the funding organization, and see what we can do.
Website, and the problem is who do you contact? Who on there are you supposed to contact? Is it right?
No. No. Yeah, no. So you can so you can go to school choice at fldoe.org. Use that barcode. We have our QR codes in the back. Email it, and that goes straight to our email. Okay. And when you email the questions, they will forward to the appropriate person. So I can go ahead and tell you, my name is Rayina Turner. I think you came in a little later. So I'm the one that handles not everything of Gardner, but some of Gardner. So please feel free to contact us. We're at Exhibit Booth 313. I will have cards, so I'll have my email address. So if you want to come visit us, and just email us, and just, and we'll see what we can do. Okay? Let's try to move.
We'll move on.
Yeah, and please.
If there are questions at the end.
Yeah. You got it? There we go. You want to just handle that?
So parent responsibilities. Of course, it is good to, and you guys all seem like you're very involved parents, because we do have parents that may not be as educated or knowledgeable. When you're dealing with free money, of course, some parents aren't as educated as they should be. But as your responsibility, communicate with your private school. If you are participating in the programs with your private school, or if you're choosing another educational option, of course, communicate with your scholarship funding organization in our department. Know how much is being covered under the scholarship versus what the private school is charging you. One of your responsibilities as a parent under these programs is to also make sure your child is adhering to the attendance requirements under the state of Florida statute. That technically isn't the private school's responsibility. It is the parent's responsibility to do so. If your private school provides transportation and they're charging you, make sure that they are covering that appropriately as well. And under the McKay right now, we do submit payments in a check, in a warrant format, that parents are obligated to sign that check over to the private schools every quarter. That is what's currently in place. That may transition next year, and we'll provide updates on the new process. But for the current school year and next school year, 2021, that process will be the same. Your private school is entitled to the check if the child meets the minimum number of days of attendance requirement, and you are obligated to sign it over to them.
All right, the Family Empowerment Scholarship parent responsibilities determine the appropriate placement. If you decide to put your student in a private school, an approved private school, homeschool, Florida virtual school full-time, that is, again, up to you. Go ahead. No, you're okay. Obtain services necessary to educate the student. Again, that just goes back to if you decide to do private school or homeschool. Establish financial terms directly with the providers or the private schools. It is your responsibility to know how much you are paying, and that includes just everything, tuition fees, anything that the private school is offering, or any other services. Arrange for any expenses, go back just a little bit. Arrange for any expenses in excess of the scholarship amount. So the scholarship may not pay for everything, so it is your responsibility to pay for the excess amount, or make arrangements to do so with the providers or private schools. Parents should know FDOE does not license or approve or regulate private schools. Like Ms. Rashawn said, participating private schools are not required to be accredited. Okay, they're not required, some are. Participating private school teachers are not required to be licensed. All right? Private schools are not required to follow the IEP or 504 accommodation plan. That is something that you and the private school or the providers will have to come to an agreement with on how to educate and how to service your child. If it's the IEP plan, that's great. If there's some other plan that you all have customized, that's wonderful. But they're not required to follow the IEP or 504 plan. It is your responsibility, It is your responsibility as a parent to select the educational setting that is the best environment for your child. Go for it. Tips for choosing a private school: check our website for helpful questions to ask school administrators. We do have that on our FAQs. Gather information about the school's approach, offerings, reputation, tuition instruction structure, everything. Visit each school talk with the principal about your child or counselors, and observe a few classes, and talk to parents of children attending the school if you know some. Go for it. That's it. All right, so if you have any questions, again, we will be at booth 313. And also, too, again, the QR codes if you want to scan that. The funding organizations, you can definitely contact them. Again, they are AAA, Scholarship Foundation, and Step Up for Students. Step Up for Students is here. The school choice information hotline is 800-447-1636. And again, you can email us. The QR codes does that for you. Here is our website, floridaschoolchoice.org. And that's it. Yeah, so Step Up is having a presentation. We need a presentation at 1 o'clock in this ballroom. All right, so feel free to come, ask them some questions as well. Again, they do have a booth. We're going to be here in the back. In the back. We will be in the back.